Hi everyone, welcome to the voice training episode that you've all been waiting for so patiently. So let's get started. So in this video, what I want to talk about is kind of my experience with my voice training that I personally did. And I've been working on it for about a year and a half. I've seen some improvement. It's slow but it seems to be pretty consistent. So let's get right into it. The important thing throughout the whole process of starting to change your voice is to remain positive. Try not to get down on yourself too much because um, it'll take some time. This isn't something that happens overnight. Um, the voice I'm currently using right now is probably it's pretty average, I think, for me right now. But it did take a while to work towards. So I started about a year and a half ago when I started hormones, and I'm here now. And it's actually kind of hard to go a little bit below this, like forcibly, because it's not my usual voice anymore. But like I could go a little bit higher, and it's a little bit harder to control, but that part's a work in progress. Um, One of the things to consider when changing your voice is know the difference between pitch, tone, resonance. Um, a lot of people seem to be under the impression that you're only supposed to change the pitch, but what that can do is create more of a like a high voice that sounds maybe more like a cartoon character than something that you can regularly use that sounds genuine to who you are. Resonance is something I remember seeing on another video, I think a year ago or so, where they talked about where like try to feel where it's resonating in your throat. And so right now my voice seems to be, I think, right in the throat. I want to eventually get it to the back of my throat, but it's right basically at my voice box right now. Before, when I started, it was actually down kind of in my chest. And as you go, you can sometimes tell the difference. So just feel where it's like vibrating, I guess. That's kind of how I figured it out. Um, the biggest thing when I started to change my voice was I got around a mentality that I would always think of this whenever I was working on my voice. So from a male to female perspective, I thought of delicate. That was a word I often would repeat in my head whenever I was out talking to someone. So you can kind of start it as, say, you're going through a drive-through or you're on the phone with someone. Try to imagine that word, and the trick is to kind of make your brain think of the person that you're trying to sound like, and or the personality behind the voice. So for me, it was always like, I want to sound delicate. I want to sound much more free and like not um, not terribly ogreish and just I don't know. I thought of that word and it immediately started to change things around. So the next step to do is you really just need to practice a lot. Um, I used to take a lot of long trips to other cities around Calgary, and I would just put on some music in the car and sing. I'd be alone, so I didn't have to worry about anyone making fun of me. So that was really cool, but I just practiced a lot. Um, you definitely need to, another tip that I've actually recently started to use more is monologuing in my car, which is literally just kind of like what I'm doing right now, is be in your car and just start talking about anything. You could be talking about what you're on your way to do, or um, what happened that day, or you could literally talk about your voice training exercises and just something to kind of get you talking and just play with it, work with, try to push your limits a little more, right? It's good to practice recording your voice too, because you want to see. This is kind of one thing that I wish I had done more of early on, but I have a recording from my voice um, back a year and a half ago. And when I hear that now, I can know, like, I see the difference now between the recordings, and it's vast. It's a big difference. So that is something that you can use to kind of keep your spirits up throughout the whole process. Think of it like you're watching grass grow. Every day you look out there, it's kind of hard to notice any difference, but if you look like one week to the next, for grass at least, you'll notice quite a big difference. So what you need to do for your voice is say, maybe take a recording every couple months or something. And it could literally be, if you don't know what to say, what I did for my first recording was I just read like a paragraph from a book, and I recorded that. And in the or in the recording, I actually played with my pitch a little bit in that, and just to see what would happen. And um, the pitch got a little bit funny, but you know what? It was just practice. Other things you can do to help with your voice training exercises is to have someone nearby to kind of help guide you and remind you if they notice your voice start to fall. So if you have a spouse that knows of your transition, or it could be a best friend, or someone maybe like that you talk on the phone with, or something like that, try to talk to them about being kind of like a spotter for you, and just say like, look, I'm like trying to change my voice. I appreciate if you could give me compliments, or like comment on my voice as we're talking. Like if you notice that it goes a little deeper for a sec, or if you notice that it's actually sounding really good. It's good to get that feedback from someone, because from an external point of view, because you end up getting some real-time feedback of like, okay, well, I thought that was a little deep, and you can quickly catch yourself. And once you kind of have someone do that for a long time, you'll start to notice it too. As you practice more and more, you'll realize when things start to drop a little bit too low, and you'll be like, okay, no, pick that back up. Like if I started talking like this for a long time, I've noticed that it's starting to get a little bit lower, right? So that just means I gotta bring it all the way back up to where I can kind of do it on a regular basis, and it's all good, right? And even still here, like try to keep it, like push it up a little bit higher. It's a little like working a muscle, right? Because if you went to the gym and you're trying to work out your arms, you're not typically going to start, like if you can only lift like 20 pounds with like a dumbbell or something like that, and your goal is to get to 50. You're not going to go right to the 50 right away. What you have to do is you kind of work your way up to that. So don't just start with the max pitch, because it'll sound kind of weird, and you don't want that, because then it sounds a little bit more fake, and you won't be happy, and you want to enjoy this process. At the end of the day, it's supposed to be a little bit fun, and I know it can be stressful to be around. Believe me, on the phone, I still get misgendered every now and then, but I think my voice is kind of in the androgynous level and pushing into the female range, but it used to be much more like fully in the male range. So it's a work in progress. So it's not perfect yet, but it's on its way. And what I've been doing has seemed to be working. Another thing you can do to help with interaction in public with people, so what I mean by this is not on the phone, so face-to-face interaction, is to use like hand gestures, right? So a feminine way of talking is actually using like hand gestures to accentuate what you mean and express yourself. And that's actually a very helpful tool to use to help complement your voice. And people kind of react to that a little bit more, versus if you're just standing there straight and talking in a monotone voice, it's going to be, they might question it a little bit more. But if you're up and you're loose and having fun with it, always remember, have fun with your voice. Try not to fret too much, but yeah, like just be open, be fluid, right? It's supposed to be comfortable. Eventually, what you kind of get to is, so right now the voice you're using, right? It doesn't cause much strain. It's very comfortable, right? You want to kind of think of it in like plateaus. So you're starting here, and you want to be up here. It's not typically like a linear line, I found. It's kind of like you raise it up, and you raise it up, and you raise it up, right? So what I mean by that is, so right now, for me, this is my comfortable voice. This is something I can use basically all day, every day. If I'm tired, it might drop a little bit, but like for the most part, I am comfortable using this voice right now. If I was to try a little bit higher, to talk like this for a little longer, yes, it may sound a little silly at first, but it's It's a little bit of a strain. I'm really concentrating on it right now because it's not comfortable. But if you do something like monologuing in your car or talking on the phone to someone and just trying this for a while, if you do it enough times over the course of several months, this actually starts to become more comfortable. Your brain kind of gets used to it, that this is the way that I'm supposed to be talking, and it'll become easier to do. It's a stretch right now for me because it's not in my mentality to talk like this, but obviously I can do it. It's just harder. So so you have to kind of keep pushing that bar up. Don't let it drop. Make sure that you're always kind of keeping it honest. And sure, like, yeah, some days, like, I don't really care about my voice. I'm just like, I want to just talk like this because it's just easier, it's more comfortable. But you definitely have to keep on top of yourself if you want to improve your voice. That, like, just keep practicing. And that's why monologuing in the car is really cool, because no one's around you. Just talk, and if you have a long drive, you can get quite a bit of speech out of the way, and it's just all repetition. If you're trying to learn a new skill, you're going to want to keep doing it, because eventually everything will just kind of click, and you'll look back and be like, wow, like, it did change. And that kind of refers to my old point about um, recording your videos, because you have those past examples. Remember the plateaus, right? So you have a recording from this plateau, maybe you have a recording from this one. So when you're finally at the end, you can look back at all those levels and be like, wow, like, over a span of 2 years, let's say, it's changed, like, incredibly, right? Um, so yeah, like, definitely, like, make sure to have fun with it. As I said many times, don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's gonna happen. You just kind of have to get over that. You will sometimes get misgendered as you're playing with it, but the important thing is that you're improving, and having those recorded examples is the key to that, or someone to help you kind of keep a spot over your voice progression. I think ultimately, you need to let your voice adapt with you too, right? Your voice is something that is an expression of your personality at the same time. Like, I'm pretty tall. I'm 6 foot tall, and fairly, like, I'm thin and athletic. I'm not some dainty 5 foot girl that has a squeaky voice. And that, like, a squeaky voice would not fit my personality very well. As much as, like, it would be really cool to kind of try it out, I don't think it would be my personality. The voice I'm working on right now is mine. It is genuine. I am not pushing it past where it kind of needs to be and where it's comfortable being. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be doing this voice your whole life. You want it to be something that is genuine. It is self-developed. It is not fake, and it's something, like, you work towards, and it kind of adapted as you transitioned. I didn't talk like this a year and a half ago, but, like, I only am talking like this now, I think, because I practiced. I also let it kind of occur naturally as I transitioned. Remember that word delicate? I kind of just kept, like, remembering that word. Like, just keep that in your head. Like, if you ever think that you're becoming a little bit too monotone, just be like, just play with it. Just, like, be a little more delicate. And it's amazing what that word to me allowed me to feel like, and it made me feel a little more light, and, like, maybe use the hand gestures a little more. Like, you never know, right? In closing, I think it's important to remember that there are all sorts of voices for women out there. One voice does not, like, a deep voice can be fine for women. You don't have to have, as I said, a squeaky voice or something really high pitched. As long as you're using, like, all the tools, like hand gestures, expression in your face, and um, tone, like the way you talk, your word choice, the way you kind of move your voice, like, up and down throughout a sentence, like, all that can help. But at the end of the day, don't worry about having, like, a deeper voice. I personally have a deeper voice than like a traditional stereotypical cis woman, but it's my voice. Like, this is, I have to eventually live with it, and I think you'll get to a point where you thought that you want to end up here, but maybe you get to this point and you're okay with that. And that's fine. Like, that's perfectly valid. It's what you want to get to is something that you're comfortable with, and you may find that along the way. Well, that's it for this video. I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Look for more videos. I'll probably be doing one in a couple of days. I'm not sure the topic yet. I think I'll probably talk about maybe coming out to friends and family. Actually, I think that'd be a really good topic to talk about next. So, anyways, as I said, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.